baseball, not always the best team wins, right? You got to still go out there and get it done.
Hello, everyone. Welcome inside the Red Earth Production Studios for this special edition of Youth Baseball Midwest Baseball Talk, the most comprehensive youth baseball coverage in the Midwest. And we're here today to talk about the Class 6 quarterfinals that are coming up and presented by Kilo Gear. Hey, look, folks, if you want to get yourself in shape, as I am if you're an older guy like me, can't get to the gym. I never have enough time to get to the gym. I put on my Kilo Gear. I do some jumping jacks through the day. I do some speed walking through the day. Just everyday movement. Build strength in every movement. And then on the other side, performance side, Kilo Gear is doctor designed, and it's got the analytics to back it up. And I got my partner up there, Dave Wiggins, going to be working with us on this, and we're going to be videotaping. We're going to put some athletes through with this Kilo Gear, and we're going to start talking about this. If you want to go now, you can go to the website kilogear.com. Check out the information. Read about the doctors. Read about the statistics that are there. The information. It's readily available. We're going to be talking about this throughout the year, bringing this information to you. We're gonna put some athletes to the test. I love that, and appreciate Coach Wiggins jumping into this with us. He's going to be doing a lot of video work with kids and whatnot. We're going to be we're working on. We should be getting the arm sleeve right pretty quick, and starting to work on some of these things. It's got the shirts, you got the pro compression, you got the everyday polo shirt you could put on, put the weights in the sleeves, walk around, look fabulous. Everybody wants to look fabulous, and that's what we're here for. Kilogear.com. Go check that out, folks. Looking forward to it. All right, Class 6, we're here. The big boys stepping up, and I'll tell you some surprises here for me. Cause I didn't pick well at all, in Class 6. It was just bad all the way around, folks. So if you're wanting to follow my picks, suggestion, don't do it. Simple as that. We're going to start District 1, District 2. Neither one of these teams I picked. I had Jackson taking on Eureka in this one, and we've got Vianney Lafayette. Now, I've seen we didn't get a chance to see Lafayette this year. I saw them a little bit. I watched a couple of games they played. Chase Rader, Dude, TJ Bender. They got guys up and down their lineups. Their pitching staff, they've got big time arms in that staff. Vianney, I think the only team close to them as far as pitching was concerned was Eureka. I think they were the top two teams pitching wise when you looked at, especially when you looked at ERA as a team. I mean, Eureka's team ERA was $1.75, and I think Vianney's is like $1.79 or some crazy number like that. It's really good. Lafayette, I think they're a more complete team offensively. I think they're a little bit better. I'm going to take Lafayette to move into the next round. Dave, I know you got some fellas that you really like on that Lafayette squad. Talk to us about it.
Yeah, I actually did pick them to win that district in a dogfight over Eureka. Coach DuPont's done a great job since arriving at Lafayette. Just always seems to be a consistent winner headed to the postseason every year. It starts with Chase Rader, hitting 411 with 5 bombs, 22 ribbies. I mean, he's the catalyst, but they got hitters all over that lineup. TJ Bender headed to Mo S&T, sitting 374 with 3 bombs, 10 doubles. Zach Tobin headed to Quincy, 371 with 7 doubles, two triples and 2 home runs. I mean, you're just looking at the RBI total. Jonah Nosovich, 35 RBI, hitting 340. I mean, there's not an easy out in that lineup. Michael Sin, who's also maybe their best pitcher this year. He's hitting 302 with 4 tanks. And they're playing a great schedule. Noah Johnson is one of the fastest players in the state. He's hitting 350. The big one for me is Will Dunbar getting hurt. Will Dunbar got hurt a couple games ago and probably can't go this series. And Will was holding down second base for him, hitting in the mid 300s as well. Just look at the lineup difference between Vianney and Lafayette. It's not even close. It's not close offensively. What it comes down to is the arms. And I think Lafayette, of any team left, matches up the best against Vianney because they have 4 really good arms and a fifth arm that's good. I mean, they've got, Michael Sin, Landon Matthews, and Asher Krimmel, the talented sophomore who's running up there in the low 90s. But they also have Drew Pickering, who's been an absolute monster for them as a spot starter and out of the pen. He's now throwing mid upper 80s with a hammer breaking ball. And they've got the junior Mr. Kohler. I can't remember. It's Gavin Kohler. It's something Kohler. He's been really good for him as well. They've won 15 straight games. They've won 15 straight games. And they play in the yellow pool. They play the best competition they can find. They don't duck anybody. I have them I have them winning both games here. I have them sweeping Vianney. I just don't think Vianney's offense is going to do anything against their pitching. I don't think Lafayette's going to bomb Vianney's pitching because it's so good. But I see I see Lafayette winning two close games. Not scoring a ton of runs, but scoring more runs than Vianney does.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun series. There's going to be a lot of fire. There's a lot of firepower on the mound on both sides. I got a good look. I was at the Eureka Lafayette district, and you know, we talked about beforehand the reasons we liked Lafayette advancing through that district. I think Coach DuPont does a good job having his guys in a good postseason mindset. They play loose, they play easy, they play aggressive. I like their chances in this series as well. With that being said, Vianney is one of the best pitching staffs in the state, and there's a lot of reasons to like them. They're a fundamentally sound team. They play good defense and they pitch. Anytime you can do those two things, you got a great chance. And then they have a star in Zach Van Hook, and he literally is the reason they're here right now. With what probably the highlight moment that I've seen in high school baseball, with the 3-2, 2 outs, down one, home run in the bottom of a seventh inning to win a district. That's as special as you're going to get. So Vianney does have a little bit of the it factor, and they came out of one of the more challenging districts in the state, and they did it the hard way. They won 3 tight ball games. They had a win versus Kirkwood in extra innings. They had a tight win versus Seckman, and then they had a walk-off winner in the championship game down a run. So versus Lindbergh. So they are battle tested, and they could be the it team. I like their defense a lot. They start a freshman over at third base, Dan Lang, that's done a really nice job for them defensively and offensively. So they are going to need to get something more out of everyone other than Zach Van Hook offensively. And that to me is the key. Can they manufacture some offense beyond Van Hook? Not that he's the only hitter, but Lafayette can beat you a lot of different ways, and they put pressure on you consistently throughout the lineup. Yes, they have a couple stars in there at the top, but Lafayette's going to just keep grinding at you every single inning. There's not an inning off. So I agree with Dave in this one. I think this goes 3 games. I think Vianney's pitching will get them a game. And I do think Van Hook will throw the 3rd game in this series. I'm not 100% about that. But I'm going to go Lafayette in 3.
I like Lafayette, but I'll tell you what, we did see Vianney against St. Dominic. And we were talking about Sam Smith a little bit there. Logan DeClue is another one. Both these guys hit up there in the top. Now, they're not power hitters. We talked about that. I think, Dave, you alluded to that Smith only has 2 extra base hits. And he does, but he's got a lot of hits. He's hitting 383. Thing he does have, though, is 28 stolen bags. So he's turned 28 of those singles into doubles. And that to me is a case for that. Now they're going to have to do that against 3 very good pitchers for Lafayette. So it's going to be can DeClue and Smith create some havoc on the base paths.
And you know what? I saw this matchup a week before districts. Those 2 teams squared off. One key to this series that's a little bit off the radar. He's not one of the Drew Pickering out of the bullpen, left-handed arm. I think is going to play a crucial role because I could see him coming in to get some of those left-handed bats, in particular Van Hook, out in a key spot late in the game. I fully expect them to go Michelson and Ashton Krimmel in the first 2 games, but I think Pickering out of the bullpen will play a major role in this series.
Yeah, I think you're going to see both Pickering and Matthews out of the pen. You definitely have Sin starting game 1, and Vianney struggled with left-handed pitching all through the district. But the other thing to note about Vianney is they have outstanding pitchers that didn't throw a pitch in districts. They didn't need them to, right? Max Flores didn't throw a pitch. Evan Osmond didn't throw a pitch. Brady Dorman didn't throw a pitch. So the depth there is real. If they do get to a third game, Vianney does have a significant edge, especially if they were able to hold Van Hook for that third game. I find, although Thieroff and Smith are outstanding, I find it very hard to lose game 1 and not throw Van Hook game 2. But I'm not the coach, so it's not my decision. But that's, and you also have to note Vianney plays a ton of games on turf. Lafayette is dirt and grass. It is not the most beautiful dirt and grass you've ever seen. It takes some Plinko hops. Their fielders are very well versed in their own home field. Vianney has not played much on dirt and grass. The only dirt and grass field in the MCC is SLU. So that might be a factor that some people aren't also taking into consideration. A hitter that we need to mention for Vianney's Cam Crisanelli is a sophomore. Mm-hmm. He's probably been behind Van Hook, their best hitter as of late. He's really come on strong. Their starting catcher, he's also really good behind the dish. Those are 2 very good teams going at it.
He hit a 2-run home run against Dominic off one of their, I think he's their he might be their number 1 or number 2 at least. Trying to remember his name. Wasn't Price. It's big tall kid. He's 6'7". Oh man.
Goodness.
Yeah. Kevin, does that ring a bell?
I'm sorry, Brian, I couldn't hear you.
Because Crisanel hit one off the Dominic kid, the 6'7", big tall pitcher for Dominic. I don't know if you. Oh, that's terrible. Thanks.
I'll find it. Give me a quick second. It was it Struckman? Nolan Struckman.
Yes, Nolan Struckman. And Struckman pitches pretty well, man. So, but he's got that. It'll be interesting. I think Lafayette, though, offensively, man, I'll tell you what, when I saw Chase Rader, and I think I told you this last night on the show, I just couldn't believe how much more physical he is this year than I've seen him in the past. I mean, he bulked up. He looks stronger, much more physical at the plate. Kevin, your thoughts?
My thought is I was just laughing to myself. That happens every year in high school. We have that talk, and I always say, just wait until, the end of February, beginning of March, and then we can start talking about it because these kids change so much. And Chase has had a phenomenal year, and there's no doubt he's put a ton of time into the weight room, and it's showing this season. And you do see that a ton. You find out who commits to the weight room, and some of it's natural growth as well. But he is certainly one of them that's taken a huge leap forward this season, not only on the field but physically as well.
Credit to Chase. In this series when he was a sophomore, he was the 9-hole hitter, and he had to take until he had 2 strikes, and then oftentimes he was bunting. And now he's driving their offense. He's the catalyst. He's hitting extra base hits. And that's true development right there. And that's hard work. That's blood, sweat, and tears. That's wanting to play at the next level like he is at Emory. And that's that's a testament to him and the hard work he's put in.
And two, I think because when I saw him, I went over to Hal Central. They were playing early, and I think it was in the Troy Classic. I think it was, and I saw him at the plate, and the only thing I think of is like, man, that swing is much more violent than I remember seeing him. I mean, it was just that. So, kudos to Chase. I like that, man. So it looks like we're all on the Lafayette train there over Vianney. CBC in the next one, taking on Francis Howell Central, the Spartans. I'll tell you, my last impression, and I thought, wow, there's no way SLU is losing this district. We had traveled in the last week of the season to Jackson for their CBC's visit to the Indians baseball park. Love it. Big shout out to the Jackson folks. They are hospitable. Mrs. Roach is just fantastic. They're great people, man. So enough said of that. CBC got waxed. I mean, they didn't. It just 15-5, and I was like, wow, what am I seeing? Because you got and I like the kid. He plays football. I think he's doing football. Corday Gage, unbelievable athlete. Cale Price up at the top there. They've got guys that can swing, and of course GT Taylor there. Their offense is, just looking at it, we go, man, this is good. They still a little struggle with the pitching, but after that, I was just like, I don't see them beating SLU. And then all of a sudden, here CBC in the quarterfinals, winning the district and coming around. Francis Howell Central, we picked Francis Howell, of course. We had him at the top 2-5. I know I got a lot of grief for putting Fort Zumwalt West below in a lot of places, but I just didn't see it. But Howell Central they started off here and there, whatnot. They've picked up momentum. They're pitching Braden Jones, Pearson, the sophomore Rory Marshall's pitched well for him at times. They've got the lineup with Drew Weiss, Cooper DeManuel, both guys there. I think this team, I like Hal Central here. I think Coach Beckman has built that culture. I think he does a great job. They're fundamentally sound. They play sound baseball. I'm taking Hal Central here, Kevin.
It's a solid pick. Francis Howell had a great run there. Obviously, a well-coached team. I think it's interesting. Both of these teams kind of found themselves as the season went on. CBC started the season 5-9, and now they're here in a sectional. There's a lot of talent in this CBC lineup. A lot of talent, a lot of depth. They're up to 25 wins now. And they beat SLU with the extra base hit. And I would expect they're going to have to do something similar, Dave, in this series, is to do it with the long ball, to do it with driving balls in gap. They have some good athletes where if they get the ball in a gap, they can run a bit. So I think that's how they're going to have to do it. They don't have they get Daniel Bergner on the mound, the senior lefty heading to Drury. That's their ace. But there's not a ton of shutdown arms in just in this series in general, I would say. So it is going to be a fascinating series, but I do like this CBC offense. If they can get going and healthy, I know they've gone through some fits with some health, but it is a deep lineup. Corday Gage is one of my favorite bats in the area. There's a chance he plays baseball in college if he chooses that. He's going to have multiple options with football and baseball. But it's and beyond him, Brady Rallo, one of the more talented sophomores in the area. You got GT Taylor, um, Kale Price. So Braden Sheneman has also had a really good run with the cadets as well. So there's a lot to like here with the CBC offense, which kind of gives me some leanings towards them, despite this series being at Francis Howell. I think I'm going to take CBC in 3, Dave.
Yeah, no doubt. CBC is immensely talented. They are hitting their stride. There's a lot of hitters in that lineup that I wouldn't feel comfortable facing. And numbers might not necessarily say that, but Patrick Effer is a highly talented middle infielder who can swing it. Braden Schreiman, hitting. Kev, my bad. I think you said him. Braden Schreiman, but he had the big hit, I believe, in that game against Howell North. A strong left-handed hitter with a lot of juice. Kale Price has really turned it on. Let's shoot 38 singles, 3 triples, 3 tanks. One of those was an inside the park home run against my Prin boys. But don't let's not look at CBC like they have no pitching, because that's blatantly false. Riker Williams has 47 and 30 innings pitched with a 3.85 ERA. Right, Chris Teschner 41 innings with a 2.2 ERA. Cam Fuqua 31 innings with a 2.87. Dane Ellis 34 innings with a 4.24. Obviously, Bergner is the class of the 50 and the 1.24, but those are respectable numbers. They play a really good schedule. They're 100% battle tested. So yes, CBC is very talented. CBC is playing good baseball. Howell Central might be playing better baseball than almost anybody right now. They people had them picked to win that district, which I understand. They still had to play really good baseball to do so. And the twins, the Radke brothers, like those dudes are studs. Emmanuel Weiss, Landon Ott. I mean, there are some really good hitters in that lineup. I'm just looking up and down, and Coach Beckman, the way he plays on offense, like they're gonna bunt, they're gonna hit and run, they're gonna steal, they're gonna put pressure on you. How does CBC handle that, right? What is their catching situation like? This one's tough for me because I think CBC might be, to a man, slightly more talented, but you need to look at Francis Howell Central's pitching staff, and you need to look at Braden Jones, because Braden Jones has thrown 50 innings in that conference, in that district, with a 1.25 ERA. Then you need to look at Cooper Pearson, 30 innings with a 3.69. And then Lucas Williams, 24 innings with a 2.84. Mason Boughton, 30 innings with a 2.54. Cannon English, 22 with a 1.59. I mean, we could go on. Rory Marshall hasn't given up a freaking earned run in 22 innings. So it's like, holy moly, what are we doing here? And Pyle, who is probably the best pitcher in that district or conference this year, he said Howell Central was by far the best hitting team that he faced. So that, to me, tells me everything I need to know. I actually do have Howell Central winning in a best of 3. I think it does go 3 games, and I'm excited to see how Beckman uses Rory Marshall.
This is going to be a good series. I think it's a coin toss series. And to preface or to clear up any, I think there's some very good pitching, but coming off of that top bracket game series that we talked about, talking about star power on the mound,
Sure.
coming off with Sin and Van Hook and Asher Krimmel. There's not that guy in this matchup. Rory Marshall might be a future guy. Braden Jones has had a heck of a year, though. He's had one of the best years out of anyone in the area. He just does it differently. He pitches to contact. He's going to give you a chance to win. He throws a ton of strikes, competes his tail off. Very, very good pitcher. So this is going to be a fun series, and I think Dave was right on. I think CBC is a little more talented. Howell Central has a very good offensive game plan and does what they do very well. So this is going to be it's going to be a fun matchup.
I like it. I like it a lot. If you get a chance, get over there. That's Friday, right? Yeah. Blue Springs South is the District 5 champion. Oh, I want to do this real quick before I do. I got a chance, first time I met head coach Scott Brown. Fantastic. Enjoyed that conversation. I know he's been around a while. Didn't he? He coached at Vianney, right, guys?
Yep.
For many of those
CBC.
championships and CBC.
Vianney.
Oh, is that right? So there you go. Really enjoyed that. First time I got a chance to meet him, and very gracious. I appreciate the hospitality, and because we do this a lot with high school. We're pretty intrusive we try not to be intrusive in the sense of, but we are, because we're asking for this and we're asking for that when we go and do a game. And, I don't think, high school, that doesn't happen a lot. And these coaches are very gracious to us, and we appreciate it very much. I want to say that. Blue Springs South, back to it. 2025 state champs. I don't say defend that 2025 state championship was theirs. Nobody's going to take that. They just want to run it back. And I think personally, of the four matchups, I think Vianney and Lafayette's close, but I think this is the premier one here, Blue Springs South, Kickapoo. This is going to be a tough series. I do think if Kickapoo wins that first one with Wilson, it goes 3, and I think that they have a possibility to win it. But I'm not going. I've picked against Coach Bear for I don't know how many years now, or since last year. Didn't have him going there. I had Rockbridge. I'm not picking against Coach Bear. We saw them against Liberty North when they got beat up pretty good. Probably wasn't their best game. Offensively, this is a good squad up and down with a lot of talent. Kickapoo, probably not as good offensively, but you put Brody Wilson on the mound, and that guy's a dude. They've got pitching. But behind the pitching, we talked about this last night with those guys, and that's what we've seen. Suferling struggled against Liberty North in that matchup we saw, so that's what I've seen so far of him. I know he's really good. I'm taking Blue Springs South here, even though I think it's going to be a really close one. I think this could go 3 as well. So, Dave, your thoughts there?
Yeah, I'll keep mine short and sweet. Once again, I don't know a whole lot about either of these teams. I know they both have dynamic number 1 pitchers.
Mm-hmm.
I think Blue Springs South offense, from what I know, is better than Kickapoo's. In this matchup, I also think Blue Springs South has a number 2 who's pretty darn good. He's a lefty. If I'm Wyatt Taylor, is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really
and
good.
They would term him as their number 1.
Yes.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yes. Coach Bear will tell you that. Yeah.
Super plays short. Is that what he does? Along with pitch?
Outfield.
Okay. I got Blue Springs South, and I think Kickapoo's outstanding. I actually picked them to win that Nixa district. I feel pretty special about that, them being a 3 seed and winning it. I was like, yeah, let's go. That's how big of a fan of Brody Wilson I am. But I think Blue Springs has a little bit too much. So I'm going to take Blue Springs South.
Kevin.
Yeah. I am going to quickly point out, we thought that Kickapoo district was the best in the state, top to bottom. And, we saw an 8 seed beat the 1 seed in Glendale, to point out how competitive that district was. I think I had Nixa coming out of that one, but could absolutely I even said Kickapoo. This is a battle-tested team, and Brody Wilson's one of the top arms in the state, heading to Missouri State. I like him in game one. With all that being said, I've been a pretty big. I've been beating the drum for Blue Springs South all season. They're one of the best teams in the state. They're battle tested. They're defending state champs. Cooper Callahan's one of the best players in the state. Stud shortstop, heading to SEMO for him. Wyatt Taylor on the mound, heading to Hutch, will not be a pushover for Kickapoo. And then you got the senior Graydon Suferling, who's heading to Wake Forest and has the best velocity out of anyone in the state. We've had him up to 98 this spring. I think it's going to be too much Blue Springs South in this one, so I expect Blue Springs South to win this. Brody Wilson might get the first one, but I'm going to go Blue Springs South in 2, actually.
No. I think that's going to be an interesting, because he's faced off twice in these big matchups. We had a game of the week. He faced off against Cameron Miller. Brody Wilson came up on the short end of that one. Got it back in the district where it mattered in the semi. Yeah. I think that would be a heartbeat matchup right there if it was Suferling and Wilson. I don't think so because, as you said, and Coach Bear said that, he told us that when we were there with him that Wyatt Taylor is his number one. And he's pitched that way, right?
One thing of note, although I think it, like a CBC and Howell Central, for example, I don't think it really matters where that game's played. They're both on turf fields. They're both in St. Louis. Lafayette and Vianney, that one matters a little bit because Lafayette has a natural surface and Vianney plays traditionally a lot of games on turf. I think this one matters a lot. And I know I just picked Blue Springs South to win in 2, but this is where this will make a difference. This is high school teams aren't used to traveling, spending the night. Blue Springs South will have to go on the road for this one to go to Kickapoo, which that will be a bit of an X factor in this series. Now, Blue Springs South has traveled. We just talked about how they won state, so they've done all this before, but that will be a factor in this series, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think Nick Long, the junior, him and Connor Smith, we saw them. They're going to have to hit very well in the middle of that with those guys there.
Brooks Eaton.
Yep.
Long,
yep. They're going to have to, they got to get on base. They've got to produce. And that's where Kickapoo has struggled a bit this year in scoring runs. Cause I mean, you got some dudes, that can bring it with Kickapoo. So I would love to see the Wilson Suferling matchup. That'd be a lot of fun, right? Oh yeah, I think so. All right. Well, I think we're all in on Blue Springs South there. Last, but certainly definitely not least, we've got Rockhurst taking on the Staley Falcons. And all right, we had Staley in the top 10 in the preseason poll. They were pretty abysmal coming out the gate. They were not playing good baseball. Boom, boom, boom. And they dropped clean out of our top 20. I was like, wow, this team just not playing well. And Coach Josenberger, when we saw him, they started to play a little bit better. We go to Platte County. I see Coach, and he's like, you could see, he goes, man, because I said, well, Coach, you guys are young. And he said, no, we're inexperienced. And he said, we're starting to get, he goes, we've got to do this and this. And you could see it. He goes, we're right there. And I was like, okay. And then they go out and beat Platte County 4-2 behind Sleepy Boyer. Love it. And then they go, I think, the next day and just get beat up, or it was close after that, just get beat up by Rockhurst. And and then they go to Columbia, sweep it there, and then they run off like what, 17 wins in a row from the Columbia tournament. It was some kooky number, and just are playing lights out baseball. They're still there. I think they figured it out. The pitching is going to be interesting. I think offensively, they're really talented. Maltsby's a dude. You got Crew Patrick, and he was hurt a little bit. He didn't even play in the Columbia tournament. He was hurt, and they still won it without Patrick. And so Glidewell, we saw Elliot Glidewell, and he plays in the outfield after. It's a fantastic name for an outfielder. Glides well to the ball to make the catch. And he was on the mound, pitched very well. They've got guys. I like this Staley team. I know little about Rockhurst. They've had a really good season. They play a lot of teams on the Kansas side. That's where, and they play a lot over there. They've got talent. They've got dudes all over the place. I'm taking Staley. They've been there. I think Coach Josenberger gets the most out of his players. That's where I'm at. Dave?
Go to Kevin. He knows these schools better than I do.
I love it. There you go. That's all right. What do you got, Kevin?
Yeah, I'll jump in on Rockhurst. They've had a really nice season and have some of the more talented players in the state. They have one of the top lefties in the state, and Owen Hughes, junior commit to Kentucky. Warren Robertson is junior outfielder / pitcher heading to Notre Dame. They have a senior shortstop or a junior shortstop named Peter Nixon going to Dayton. So that's a lot of Division I talent right off the bat. You understand why they, they're in the position they're in. I like this Rockhurst team a lot. With that being said, I think when I told you that I had Liberty as my state championship pick, I put an asterisk, and it was really whoever came out of District 8, because we talk about how tight that was. I think I had the top 3 seeds in that in my top 5 or 6 in the state rankings. So that was going to be a little bit of a crapshoot between Liberty North, Staley, and Liberty. The Staley offense is potent, and it's a really deep lineup to hit on a couple others. Brady Nelson adds a lot of depth to that lineup. Xander Paul Sr. Adds a lot of depth. He's in the middle of that lineup. So there's a lot of talent on that Staley team. They've won a ton of games since a very, very slow start. But since the Columbia tournament, they have caught fire, and they made a very tough district look pretty easy. I mean, they walked right through that thing, to be honest with you, with a 6-0, 8-5, and an 11-0 is how they took care of that district. I'm going to take Staley in 2 in this one.
Yeah, I'm looking. Me. I'm just kind of trying to find numbers, and thankfully they have their stats on Game Changer, which is very few and far between. It looks to me, and I'm not hating by any means, but like Warren Robertson is hitting 284 with an 830 OPS. I thought that would be a little bit better considering he's going to Notre Dame. He has walked a ton, so maybe he's getting pitched to a lot differently. Owen Hughes is hitting 415 with a 1091 OPS. And, even though he's the lefty going to Kentucky, it looks like Arthur and Gillespie are putting up more innings than him and have slightly better ERAs and whips. Looks like Hughes is a 3.7 ERA. So the dudes, although they may be dudes and they may be going to the next level, like sometimes we see this with showcases. Sometimes guys that perform extremely well in showcases or project at the next level aren't quite necessarily finished products in high school yet. I've got Staley in 2.
Yeah, I think, hey, listen, you know what, guys, you from Class 4 with Excelsior Springs, they're still in it, to Class 5 with, Platte County. still there, and to Class 6 with Staley and Blue Springs. The Kansas City Suburban Conference is, I think that's the best conference in the state. You can't, it's hard to argue that. It really is. Up and down, and they play each other. Excelsior Springs is a Class 4 school, and they go and play these teams all the time. And, you just, you look at that up and down, and here you have Blue Springs South because they're in District 5, Staley because they're in District 8. I mean, that's a KC Suburban conference matchup in the Final Four. I think that's what we're headed to. I could, of course, the other teams can prove us wrong, and we'll see if they do. But I just don't see it. So that's what we got there, folks. And so let's go back through this. We're gonna go. We got. I think everybody's got Lafayette take over Vianney. Howell Central. I think Kevin got a slight edge to CBC there in 3. Blue Springs South and Staley. And I will tell you, folks, I think, Howell Central, Lafayette. I think Lafayette gets back to the championship game there. And just don't.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's see. I was going to say, okay, my fault. Yeah, no. You're right.
That's all right. Lafayette taking down Howell Central, and I think Staley gets back. I think we got Lafayette, Staley, and I think that's a pick 'em in my opinion. I think you got two really intriguing coaches in Josenberger and DuPont, and two teams that are very similar, and I think it would be just a fantastic matchup. I couldn't tell you who would win that. I just don't. I don't know. That's my thought process. Dave, what do you got?
I've got Howell Central and Blue Springs South, and I have Blue Springs South repeating.
Cool. There you go. I love that. Kevin?
I also have Blue Springs South repeating here. I think the Blue Springs South Staley matchup, if it were to happen, would be the state championship game. And I think they would be playing Lafayette in the championship game.
There it is. Howell Central. Love the pick. Hey, listen, yeah, it's going to be interesting. That'd be a great thing and I want to give a shout out. I haven't known Coach Bear that long. We got a chance to go over and live stream over there this year. Great hospitality. Really enjoy talking with Coach Bear. He's a fun conversation. And he is also exiting the high school baseball coaching scene. He said, "I've been putting baseball pants on for like 50 years. I'm done." I know it's great. And kudos to him. I mean, if he could pull that off back to back on your way out, that would be impressive. That would one up Stiegel over there. I know he was trying for 3 in a row on his way out at Liberty North. Fell just a bit short. But man, that would be impressive, guys, to do that back to back on your way out.
Agreed.
Final thoughts, Kevin?
No, just really looking forward to Friday. These should be some great sectional matchups, and same comment as Class 5. I think however this shakes out, we're going to have a really exciting and talented Final Four down in Springfield, or Ozark, I should say.
And Ozark, yeah. They will correct you hot, quick, and in a hurry, too. I'm telling you. Don't say Springfield. It's Ozark. Absolutely. Dave?
Yeah, my final thoughts have nothing to do with this. You said, Coach Bear's been putting baseball pants on for 50 years. We already don't have to wear jerseys as high school coaches. I would love to be able to wear sweatpants. So if Misha could, allow us to wear sweatpants they're the same color as our team's pants, I would be more than appreciative. So yeah.
Oh man, what do you think,
I
Kevin?
don't know, Dave. I think it keeps you motivated to stay in the weight room and take care of yourself because you got to show it all off.
Oh man, yeah, baby, yeah. It's a privilege to sit here with these two gentlemen and talk baseball, bringing it every year. This is now, Kevin, this is sixth year, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, and now 26. Sixth year, we'll be covering
the sixth season of it. Yes.
State championships. We went down there, Kevin and I. Oh man, geez, how time flies.
Time's flying.
We've seen some good stuff. Carson Milbrandt shutting down Zumwalt West at midnight in 21.
Yeah. That was like probably the all-time highlight. Reese Robinette hitting a couple bombs. Dazan Zanatello's big homer. Titus Sissel. Defense. Jake McCutcheon had Brody Earlbeck's pitching performance. The no-hitter by Lafayette.
Oswald. Tyson Oswald.
Just the Willard teams. Just
Thanks.
out of the yeah. Well, honestly, Coach Wiggins' run to was one of the highlights as well. So we've seen some
beating Arnie was the single best
great performances.
Absolutely. So we'll see what gives this year. Always a pleasure, gentlemen. Thank you very much, folks. Appreciate you tuning in. If you like what we're doing, hit the subscribe button down there. Hit the dinger next to it, just like we do with our dinger bats. If you're looking for some dinger bats, wood bat trainers, gloves, they do it all, batting gloves, go to dingerbats.com, check out their inventory. Until next time, folks, we have a great day in the Lord, and we'll see you at the ballpark.